What is up? What is up? What is up? We got a special guest in the house tonight. Special guest, man. Been waiting to get this guy in here for so long. We're waiting to get this dude in here for so long, man. What y'all got going on tonight? Your boy just hit 5K. Your boy just hit 5K subscribers, man. I want to thank every single person, man, whether they viewed this channel for 1 minute or they roll with me the whole ride, man. But yeah, 5K, man. I don't know about for anybody else, but for me, that's a major accomplishment. Like, that's a major accomplishment. And I wanted to do something special. I wanted to have tonight or either Monday, I like a little celebration for my 5K subscribers. I can't do it tonight because I got to get up out of here directly after this live. So it's either going to be Monday or next Friday. We'll just go straight after Unfiltered. I'm not sure yet. It's either going to be Monday or next Friday. We're going to go directly after Unfiltered. And yeah, man, I'm excited. Got Bobby in the building. Got some heavy hitters in here, man. Eric is in the building. Josh in there. Xavier already with the 199. Come on, y'all, let's go. Chad is in the building. I told you the heavy hitters was in here. I told you I got a special guest today. Appreciate you, man. That 5K, man, I swear. I was trying to hit 5K before I got to 2 years. I think I hit 2 years on November 3rd. I'll be on YouTube for 2 years on November 3rd, man. So I've been hustling trying to get this 5K before 2 years. And it actually worked out for me, man. I actually can't believe it. And like I say, shout out to y'all, man. Shout out to everybody that supported me throughout this journey. It's just starting. We just beginning, and we going on for bigger and better things, man. I got some more things planned for the channel. Like I was saying, I'm going to do a celebration either Friday or Monday. I'm doing some giveaways. And man, we are going to kick it. Like, we going to kick it. We're going to do a Q&A, but really we just going to kick it. Like I said, it's either going to be Monday or Friday. I'm not sure yet, but I would I'll put it in my community tab, whichever day it is. But I don't want to keep the guest waiting for too long back there. He was gracious enough to be on time, you know what I mean? Not like all my guests, you know, they get in there when they get in here. And I ain't mad at them because I'm always running late anyway. But I'm gonna go ahead and drop this introduction. And since I gotta be out of here we go roll at a hard 8 o'clock. I gotta get up out of here. But I'm gonna go ahead and do my introduction and bring my guy in here. What is up, team? It's your boy Sledge from the SledgeIncTeam. Back with another episode of 20 Questions with Sledge. And today's guest is a hotel credit card king. Watch me apply video master. And he always know the best credit card sign up bonuses. It is my guy, the one and only Matt Welter.
What's up, everybody? Thank you so much, Sledge, for having me on. Super pumped to be here, and yeah, excited to go after it today.
Man, you already know, man. Listen, fellow hotel card, like that's yes, our thing, man. I say I've been wanting to get you on here for so long, man. But you know, no time like in the present.
Yep, super excited. Let's get after it,
man. For the people that don't know you, which probably everybody do know you, can you tell them a little bit about yourself?
Yeah, for sure. So just like Sledge, I got a credit card YouTube channel. On my channel, I make videos about everything related to, hotel cards, like he was saying. I'll talk about, my own credit card journey and what I'm doing with my own redemptions. And yeah, just super excited to be a part of the overall credit card community and work with a lot of other creators, and super excited to be here with Sledge and talk to all of you today.
All right. So the way 20 Questions with Sledge works is I'm going to ask you some questions, some credit card related, some not so much, and then some fun questions at the end. So if you're ready to get to it, let's go.
Ready to go.
All right. Now, the first question I ask every single person who's ever been on here is, What made you pick up a camera and start recording videos for YouTube?
Yeah, so that's a great question. It's one that I have a pretty long answer to, but I'll try to keep it short. So back in, I want to say like 2020, I actually started another channel where I was talking about stocks and investing and all that type of stuff. And I kind of picked up the camera because I was always more entrepreneurial minded, was trying to figure out, always looked up to a lot of other people on YouTube and saw some of the videos they were making, especially, in the personal finance niche, and was like, hey, like they're making those videos, like I want to give it a shot. Obviously, I'm going to be nowhere close at the start to how good their videos are, but I thought it'd be really cool and interesting. I had a lot of time on my hands in 2020 as well. So I was like, hey, I'm going to give it a shot. I started with stocks and investing, but realized that wasn't like my biggest passion. So then I started this channel back in 2022, I believe. And the reason I got interested in credit cards to begin with is, I graduated from college, really wanted to travel, didn't have a lot of money. So I was like, all right, what do I do now? And that's where the whole, traveling with points hobby was kind of born. And I figured, why not document my journey, kind of starting from, someone that's a little bit younger and going across my journey over time on my channel. So that's how this channel in particular was born.
That's what's up, man. For those people that don't know, man, I've been pretty much going along with Matt's journey since he's been doing this thing. So, and the same thing, vice versa.
Yep.
But yeah, Matt, what was your very first credit card, and why did you pick that card?
The very first credit card that I ever got was the Alaska Airlines card. This was back, probably not a good decision in hindsight, but this was back, when I wasn't super knowledgeable, didn't really know what I was doing in terms of credit cards. And I live in the Seattle area. So the Alaska card was kind of just a lot of people's go-to and what a lot of people had just being in Seattle. And my parents both had the card. And I was basically co-signed onto one of my parents' cards to start with before I got that one. And it was just highly recommended from a lot of people that were in my circle and what they recommended to me. So that was technically my first ever card. But after that, once I kind of started to understand the whole, like, how to actually structure my foundation of credit cards in terms of building out some of those $0 fee cards first and some of the better beginner cards to start with, I got both of the Chase Freedom cards and some of those more, I guess, like beginner friendly cards after that.
Now, today, excuse me, how many credit cards do you have right now? And which of those cards will you never cancel?
I believe I have, if I'm right off the top of my head, I want to say I have 16. So it's definitely been a pretty big 180 from where I first started at. Just only, I'm 24 right now, almost 25. So I'm not like super deep into my credit card journey, but I'm definitely accelerating, I guess, the amount of cards I'm getting. Out of the cards I will never cancel, all of those cards that don't have annual fees to start with, I'm never going to cancel it because there would be no reason for me to do so, just to keep that credit history going over time. Other cards I would never cancel, probably the Alaska card, just because it was my first ever card. So it would definitely take a knack on my credit history, the fact that it's my oldest credit account open, but also at the same time, I was grandfathered into some of the benefits. So like the companion pass that you get every year, now you have to spend towards it. But for me, I was actually grandfathered into it. So I still have zero spend to get it every year. So because of that, it kind of becomes a keeper card for me. But outside of that, I would say all the no annual fee ones, the Alaska card, because it was my oldest card, probably the Venture X, at least for right now, just because, as long as I use the travel credit every year, which I should be able to, I see no reason why I would need to cancel it. Yeah, outside of that, I think those are the core ones. There's a lot of hotel cards that I have that I would consider keeper cards right now, but who knows if my preferences change. Maybe I become more of a loyalist with certain brands, and then, maybe some of them just become not as useful for me. But I would say those are probably the core ones.
Man, if I lived on the West Coast, I would definitely check out that Alaska card. But it sounds like when you
Yeah.
got in was the best time to get it.
No, I am super, super glad and lucky I got in before that change is made because I think it's like 4 or 5K that you have to spend per year to get the companion pass now, which is just kind of a bummer. Whereas for me, I get it every year. So I just use that every year. And that's kind of my way to cancel out the annual fee by just using that one benefit.
Oh man, that's awesome. I hope they don't switch that up on you.
I really hope so. I really hope so.
All right, now, what's your favorite credit card ecosystem and why?
Favorite credit card ecosystem, I would have to say Chase. The reason behind that is number one, the flexibility, just because, I am a travel guy and I like to use my points for the highest upside that I can in terms of, transferring out to travel partners, leveraging some of those travel cards to get higher value through the portal. But I always have the flexibility with Chase in terms of, there's a higher floor for what you can cash your points out for if you really need to use that benefit. Their travel partners are also really strong. And I feel like they switch up less on you in terms of like, if you're comparing to American Express, I feel like I can apply for a card and have a good reason to believe that that card's going to stay pretty consistent or kind of like what I once applied for. Whereas with Amex, like who knows what that card's going to look like in a couple of years with all the changes that they make. So I would say Chase.
Man, I couldn't have said that better. American Express is just tomorrow we can wake up and there'll be 3 cards changed,
No, exactly.
Now, when we talk about travel credit cards, what benefits do you absolutely need in a travel credit card?
Yeah. So I would say to start with, travel protections are really important. At least having it on some of your travel cards to be able to activate them. You never know when you're actually going to need them because it's not something that people really talk about that much in terms of like, oh, like I'm going on this trip and I want to talk about all these travel protections I'm getting, because the best case scenario is you don't have to use them ever if like something doesn't go wrong. But in general, just having that as an insurance is really useful. Like obviously with how airlines are trending these days, there's a lot of, missed luggage and, sometimes it's a little bit of a peace of mind to make sure you have some of those protections with you when you're traveling. In terms of other important benefits, I would say having like travel partner flexibility, like having a travel card that you have at least a couple travel partners that you utilize pretty frequently or you could get value out of that you can transfer your points out to, just because it gives you some more flexibility instead of just being locked in with one ecosystem. Obviously, there's benefits to co-branded cards too, like hotel cards, but I really like, the diversified points currencies and having different options. And then obviously, hotel card wise, I think having elevated statuses and stuff like that, which, are intangible benefits, but at the same time can get you a ton of value, are really important.
Man, you couldn't say that enough either, man. I tried to spin my way to diamond status because like at this time I wasn't staying anywhere for work in hotels. I'm just trying to spin my way to diamond status every year, and I never made it. I think I had gold for like 10 years, but at the time I had no idea the Hilton Inspire card existed. I'm spending all of this money when I could have just picked up this card,
right?
And just had
paid the annual fee and got it much easier.
so much easier.
Yeah.
All right, now kind of sticking on that. What is your favorite card for travel, and why? I think I know the answer.
Yeah. Well, I think it depends on what type of travel. Just because, if I'm going for, I would say maybe a hotel card if I'm going for, the type of travel where I want to stay in a nice hotel, potentially get upgrades and get some of that untouched value that maybe isn't seen as much, like getting free breakfast or, getting upgraded to a nicer room, whatever. If I had to say just one, I could only pick one out of the cards I have right now. Honestly, one card that I've gotten a lot of value out of recently has been the Venture X, just because, I've already activated the travel credit. They're still building out their lounge network, so it's not like they have a ton right now, but I recently checked out the lounge in DC, which I thought was really nice. And in general, like there's a lot of added value too with myself traveling with my wife. Like I can get her into the lounge for free, which I can't do if I had the platinum and went to a Centurion lounge. There's priority pass lounge access as well. There's a lot of benefits that that aren't necessarily like mainstream, but can still get you a lot of value out of that card. So I would say, at least for right now, that's the card I'm rocking with. But at some point, I want to add like a luxury hotel card, and then that'll probably be my answer.
You know what? You just brought up a lot of gripes I had, man, with American Express.
Yeah.
like literally, I mean, because realistically, most people paying $6.95, man. I pay $12.80 because I have to have 3 authorized users. You know,
Right.
at $1.95 a piece, man. That's a nice little something to
No, I
pay.
know. And it's like tough too because you got to decide like, do I pay for this authorized user or do I have to pay every single time I go into a lounge if I want to bring in my player 2 or
Right,
whatever? So
right.
it's tough.
I think at the end of the day, it's probably better to just pay for the authorized user, but
Yeah.
it's better if you can get. I mean, if you can get 2 people in, that would be so much better. Like the old platinum,
Right.
you get 2 people in, and that's the reason I picked up the AA executive card because I fly AA, and I can actually
Mhm.
bring 2 people in the Admirals Club with me. So,
Yeah. No, it makes a huge difference. Like those additional fees that are kind of like a little bit hidden that aren't like marketed on the card or whatever. But
right,
like some of those fees to like if you I mean if you travel solo it's a different story, but if you're traveling consistently with other people, that's when you have to really take a look at some of those other benefits on bringing people in with you and what you need to pay for them, and then obviously it increases the overall cost.
right.
So I totally get what you mean.
Yeah, I mean, you don't want to go traveling with your buddy and you have access to the lounge and they can't
It's like
get
see
in.
ya. Yeah.
All right, now everybody has their own strategy, for managing multiple credit cards.
Uh-huh.
Do you use like Max Rewards or spreadsheet? How do you manage your credit cards?
Yeah. So I have used Max Rewards in the past just in terms of like activating my Amex offers and stuff like that. In terms of how I manage my cards, I have a couple different like Google Docs where I keep track of like my due dates in terms of annual fees and stuff like that, like when things are posting. I frequently, go into my accounts and make sure that different credits are being activated and I know what I'm working with. So in general, I typically keep a couple Google Docs where I have like the card, when the annual fees posting, highlight the benefits that I need to utilize. And then like as I'm utilizing certain credits, I'll just go off and like check it off theoretically, and then making sure that I'm consistently going through things.
Man, I need to do that too, because I'm like going through every single credit card once in a blue moon just to check and make
Yeah.
sure, that I use them. Yeah, I need to do better at that. But you got a
No,
question
yeah.
in here.
Yeah.
Says, what is your take on the Alaska Hawaiian Airlines merger and the impact that it has on their credit cards?
Yeah. No, I saw that. It's interesting because Alaska miles are super valuable. I don't know if it's kind of like, I don't know how many people like know about how valuable their points currency is, but like they have a ton of partner airlines too. And there's a lot of sweet spots with Alaska. So like the value, like, especially if you're comparing like 1-to-1, like Alaska, the value of Alaska miles versus like Delta Sky miles, for example. Like Alaska has a ton of hidden sweet spots. Like you can fly to like Tahiti through like Air Tahiti. I know like Japan Airlines, you can fly through booking with Alaska. So it's an opportunity because it like I've seen a couple people do this, like Max Miles and Points posted about some of the strategies around this, but you can transfer Amex points to Hawaiian, and then you can transfer Hawaiian over to Alaska. So it's kind of like almost like a backdoor Roth is like what I think about when I think about this, because it's like one extra step, but you're still making a way to get those points over to Alaska straight from Amex. Um, in terms of how it'll impact their credit cards, one thing I'm curious about is if they're going to close that loophole at some point, because Alaska points are really valuable. So I'm not sure if Hawaiian to Alaska is going to work forever. I'm curious on like if that's just going to be a thing going forward, or if eventually they'll maybe close off that path. But in terms of how it impacts credit cards, I mean, I would hate to see the Alaska card nerfed because I have it personally, but I'm not sure what they would do. For now, I'm just hoping that it stays the same. But in my opinion, I think they're probably going to close the ability to transfer points from Hawaiian over to Alaska at some point. But it's just kind of a wait and see at this point.
Oh man, I don't even think about those cars because like I say, if
Yeah,
I'm all the way far east, so. But yeah,
right.
I mean, I hear so many things good about the Alaska car, but this wouldn't be a benefit for me. But I
Yeah,
got another
totally
question
get
for
it.
you. Eric Harper say, how many sign-up bonuses do you try to chase each year?
Yeah, I'm trying to think about. Okay, so the cards I've gotten this year, Venture X I got this year, IHG Premier Business, Delta Gold Business, um, Chase World of Hyatt, which I think we're at 4. Um, I just got the ChaseInc Unlimited for the second time, so we're at 5. I think on average, at least recently over the past couple of years, probably last year or two, again, I'm still early in my credit card journey, so there's still a lot of opportunity in terms of new cards I don't have. So right now, like at least this year and last year, I think on average, I'm probably getting like 5 to 6 sign-on bonuses a year, which sometimes can be tough. I'm not going to lie, because like there's the spend requirements attached to them. I still try to live a relatively frugal lifestyle, so like I'm not spending crazy amounts of money every month just to hit the sign-up bonuses. So sometimes I will have to like pay rent with a card, even though I have to take on the 3% fee, just if it's easier to hit the sign-on bonus. And the way I justify that is, I'm paying a 3% fee, but the return on spend to get this bonus is 25% or whatever. So that's the way I justify it. But on average, I would say probably about 5 sign-on bonuses per year as of now.
Man, if I pay rent, I'll go crazy paying rent with make sign-up bonuses. I wouldn't even
Yeah.
think twice about it.
Well, I have the Bilt card, so I try to like use that as much as I can, but
That's
I'm
smart.
not gonna lie, like tons of months, like I end up like really needing to like eke out a little bit more money towards a
Yeah.
bonus, so then I just use that card.
Man, imagine if they gave if someone just gave 2 cents per point for rent, man.
Oh,
That
I
would just
know.
be the ultimate card.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right, now, when you think about credit cards, what is the most underrated credit card benefit that most content creators don't talk about?
Good question. Well, there's a lot of great benefits that a lot of people do talk about. So I guess I'm trying to think in terms of what people don't talk about as much. I
Right.
might go back to the travel protections that I talked about earlier, just in terms of like, if I made a video and the title was like travel protections, check them out or whatever, I feel like it's just not as exciting. Like it's not as cool to talk about the travel protections or whatever. But they are really important and they're underrated, because I feel like you need them in terms of, you know, you hopefully you don't need them all the time, but I would argue that you need that security blanket when you do travel. Make sure things doesn't happen. Something gets canceled, your bag gets lost, whatever, your phone gets stolen, you have cell phone protection, whatever. Those benefits are definitely important to have, and I would value them higher than I would say most people, just because I guess I'm just nervous about something happening, maybe. But at the same time, like for my honeymoon, we had this was before I actually used travel protections to book the flights on a card, and we had our bags that got lost. A flight got canceled because the engine was all messed up, and all these things happened. And ever since then, I was like, all right, travel protections are really important. Make sure that doesn't happen.
All right.
So
It's like any insurance, man. You don't think about it until that situation actually happens to you. You
yeah,
have to
exactly.
imagine. All right, now, about a year ago, you put out a video titled "Capital One Will Crush the Competition." That is right now, I'm pretty sure it's your highest viewed video. Why do you think that video did so well? And did you expect it to do as well as it did?
I definitely did not expect it to do as well as it did, to answer that second part. For the first part, I don't know. I would say just in general, I thought I like to take like different sides of an argument. So like I'll make a video where it's like, why Hyatt will crush the competition, and then I'll make a video why Hilton will crush the competition. Then people will be like, hey, like you hypocrite, like why did you just? I thought you said one of them was going to crush the competition. Why is the other one doing it now? But in general, I like to just like take a side, even if I don't like fully think a certain side myself, like take that argument and explain to people like what are the benefits of thinking this way. Here's the downsides to thinking this way. Here's other things you could consider. And Capital One was pretty popular last year, especially just with like, the Capital One Duo was kind of becoming this like popular setup. Obviously, there's the Venture X, which has been popular over the past couple of years. And so I guess part of the reason it did well is just because it matched up with like a trending topic in terms of Capital One. It gave another perspective because people, I guess, at that time didn't necessarily think about in that lens of like why Capital One would crush the competition, because it's just not something that's really talked about or seen as like a popular opinion. And I think just talking about something a little bit unique potentially spurred that to be something people wanted to consider.
Yeah, I think you have another Capital One video that did extremely well as too. So
I saw the first video doing well, then I was like, all right, how can I, from a success perspective, how can I make another video that's relatable in that same way to people who like that video? And I think that's part of it too.
And you know what the thing about it is, a lot of times when people try to recreate that same magic, it don't work. But in this case, it worked out pretty well for you.
Yeah.
Now, you also made a video titled, "You Must Avoid the Credit Card Ladder." First thing, what is the credit card ladder and why should we avoid it?
Yeah. So the credit card ladder is basically where you have like, tier 1 cards, tier 2 cards, tier 3 cards, whatever. And it's basically essentially talking about like early on in your credit card journey, you should prioritize those foundational tier 1 cards first, then go up to tier 2. Once you get some of those tier 2 cards, you go up to tier 3, and eventually you're working your way up to getting like some of those more premium cards towards the end of your credit card journey. And I think there's some validity to it for sure, in terms of like having a foundation, like starting out and making sure you understand what you're doing before you're just going straight into some of those premium cards. The reason I made that video and why I've talked about like potential reasons why you should avoid it is I feel like it boxes you in some ways, because I don't want people to think like they can't go outside of their tier to get like another card. When in reality, it just depends on everyone's preferences at the end of the day. So like, if you're someone who's like paying for a wedding, but you're like maybe in tier 2 of credit cards, like there's no reason you can't go for a higher tier card that maybe has a higher spend requirement just to match your lifestyle and what your spending preferences look like at the time. So I think like the whole premise of that video was talking about like not being boxed in, and at the end of the day, letting your travel and spending preferences do the talking for what cards you should get.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Now, you also have a series called Best Bonuses, which is probably my favorite video series on your channel. What made you start doing that? I mean, I know it's beneficial to everybody, but what made you start making the Best Bonuses videos?
Yeah, I made them partially because I'm someone who's in that boat to where like right now I'm still relatively early in my credit card journey to where I would call myself a bonus hunter. Like I'm going after new bonuses at a pretty high pace. So like, especially, when you come to get certain credit cards, like especially Amex cards with like once per lifetime language and stuff like that, like it's really important to make sure that you're always going for the highest offers that are available. So I think having that series is important for people so that like maybe they were always going after the Bond Boy Brilliant, but like it wasn't the right timing because there wasn't a good offer or whatever. But then this month, like it's an all-time high offer, so here's the time to jump on it. I think it would be helpful, I guess, like taking a step back, it would be helpful for myself to watch those videos because I'm always bonus hunting and trying to figure out which cards to go for next. So I'm hoping it's helpful for other people as well. So that's one reason that I make those videos. And number two, just because I have some like evergreen content on my channel in terms of, climbing the credit card ladder, like that's something that's always relevant. And I think it's important to like mix and match to have those more like time sensitive videos as well, where it's like, all right, these are the cards to watch out for this month or whatever. And yeah, those are the reasons that I think I made that series.
Man, well, I know it helped me out because I look out for those videos like every time because you never know, it might be something that you missed, and you're pretty detailed on the ones that's up to date at that moment. So
appreciate it. Yeah.
Now, I personally revolve my credit card setup around my hotel cards. And you, as we said earlier, you make a lot of videos, around hotel cards. What is your favorite hotel and why? Not hotel card, but hotel.
Like favorite hotel chain or like
brand,
specific
right.
hotel? Okay.
Yeah.
It's a hard one because in terms of like hotels that I've stayed at, I would say I lean Hilton in terms of like the experience and like the different Hilton hotels I've stayed at and like the ability to get upgraded, the ability to get, some of those other benefits like free breakfast or whatever, especially when I've traveled internationally. I'm someone who travels a lot of the times to more under the radar destinations. So like especially, Central South America, like places where Hilton status isn't as saturated. So the upgrades are a little bit more consistent, I found. So I like Hilton for that reason. For the same reason, in terms of myself traveling to more under the radar destinations, I do like Marriott a lot as well because they have the best global footprint, and at least in the areas that I've traveled to, like in South America, for instance, I've found that they typically have like the most amount of options or the best options that are available. Whereas like there's a little bit less of a presence for some of the other hotel chains. So from an experience perspective, I'll say Hilton, and from like an availability perspective, I'll say Marriott.
I can definitely agree with that.
Yeah.
Now, what do you think is the most underrated hotel card, and why do you think that?
I would say the IHG cards are the most underrated. There's a lot of like sneaky good benefits. So to just go through them, like there's the IHG Premier, IHG Premier Business are like the two main ones. There's no annual fee card too, but the IHG Premier versions have $99 annual fees, but then you get a free night award each year that again can just cancel out the annual fee in terms of value that you're getting. But what they have that a lot of other hotels do not is they have a fourth night free benefit. So most hotels like Hilton and Marriott have a fifth night free benefit when you book with points. For myself, at least, like I'm usually trying to get up and like travel to multiple different places. It makes it a little bit tougher to stay like 5 nights in one place, whereas 4 nights is a little bit more feasible. Like I can make that happen. So that's a really good benefit that I don't think gets talked about enough. Um, but so there's that. There's the free night award, and in general, I just got the IHG Premier Business, and I capitalized on I think it was 175,000 IHG points. So the welcome offers are strong as well, and I definitely think IHG is an ecosystem that's not as talked about that I think should be because I think it's underrated.
Man, I told you, man, we got too much in common. I 100% agree with you on that. You know what?
Yeah.
Another thing about that, the fifth night free, because if you
Uh-huh.
want to stay somewhere for 4 nights and you had a fifth night free, it's kind of forcing you to stay because you want to take advantage of that
Right.
fifth night, you know. But
Yeah.
having the fourth night free gives you a little bit more flexibility, in my opinion.
Yeah. I agree.
All right, now you got another question here from Fast Stacks Academy. He said, if you could make a channel about another topic other than credit cards and travel, what would it be?
Interesting. Yeah, I was gonna say travel would probably be my next another channel I would make, but if it's not credit cards, then it's not travel. Um, I would say maybe more general personal finance. I mean, like I can try to like work in some general personal finance to my current channel too, but if I had to make another channel, I think maybe I would make a dedicated one where I'm talking about like, my journey with investing or my journey, potentially wanting to get more into real estate in the future, or different aspects like that. So I would say, yeah, more of a general personal finance channel.
We got John R asking, any new cars to finish out the year? Or are you chilling until 2025?
Yeah, so that's a good question. So right now, I'm technically working on 3 sign-up bonuses at the same time. Um, when you count myself and my player too. So basically, right now, the 3 sign-up bonuses I'm working on, the ChaseInc Unlimited, which I'm using right now to pay for my rent, just because I have so many sign-up bonuses that I'm working on. So the Inc Unlimited is in action. The Delta Business or the Delta Gold personal card, my wife recently got. So we're working on that one. And then she got the Marriott Bonvoy Bevy a couple months ago when they had that offer that I think it was 155,000 Marriott points that was available. So that one's over 6 months. So we have a little bit more flexibility there. But technically, since I'm working on 3 different sign-up bonuses at the same time, that will probably take me to the end of the year. And then I'll see where I'm sitting at for next year.
Man, I'm gonna tell you something crazy. I'm also working on 3 sign-up bonuses.
Oh
Man,
yeah.
we have too much in common, man.
Wow. Yeah.
Well, that's crazy.
What sign up bonuses are you working on?
The AA executive, I still need to put about another 3K on it. I applied
Yeah.
for the AA executive and the altitude go on the same day. So I'm working on both of those. I also
Okay.
applied for the in cash, but they denied me for having being over 524.
Uh-huh.
But so I have AA executive, the altitude go, and then I have another card that I can't say because I haven't released it to my channel yet, and I
Yeah,
haven't
fair
even
enough.
got it yet. So I just applied for it a couple of days ago.
Okay.
But
Cool.
but that one is a 6-monther. That one I got 6 months to do it. These two I have 3. So
Yeah. I love the 6-monthers. Gives us a little bit more flexibility.
yeah, and this particular one's like 6 months to hit 1,500. You know what I mean? So
Mm,
that's a
yeah.
real easy one.
Yeah, for sure.
A executive by itself is $7,000 by itself. So let me see. All right, now out of all of your credit cards that you currently have, which one do you think is the most underrated?
I hate to be a broken record, but I would probably go back to what I said earlier. IHG Business Premier would be the most underrated, just because, I have the Venture X, which I think is a good card. I have, some other cards that are maybe talked about a lot. So one card that I don't think is talked about a lot is those IHG cards, and I do really like that card. So I would say IHG Premier Business.
Caesar asked somebody else this question, man. Caesar really put you on the hot spot with this question because it's a hard question to answer. If you could only have and use one credit card for the rest of your life, which card would it be and why?
Wow. Okay. I don't have this card yet, but I might say the Amex Platinum. I know, like, I don't know. I live in Seattle to start with, so there's a Centurion Lounge in Seattle that I would be able to have my home airport lounge access with. Already use a lot of the credits, so I use the Uber credit easily. I would use the digital entertainment credit easily. I would use the hotel FHR credit. Like, I think I would get a lot of value from the credits. I would not have to worry as much about some of the hotel cards. Like, I would still, I mean, optimally have multiple, but if I could only have one, I cover Hilton and Marriott by getting gold status on the platinum for both of those. And then I still have, a lot of other important intangible benefits on that card as well. So if I could only have one card, I think I would probably go with that, especially since I hope to travel a lot in the future. So the platinum would be useful for that too.
Okay, Matt. When Caesar asked me that question, I gave the same answer.
Oh yeah.
That's crazy. All right, now this might ruffle some feathers here.
Uh-huh.
You once said in one of your videos that the Chase Sapphire Reserve was overrated.
Uh-huh.
Do you still feel that way? And why do you think it is overrated?
I think it's overrated for myself. Um, I hate to like put that on everybody else, I guess. But if I'm talking about like myself, I think the Sapphire Reserve is just not a card I'm considering right now. To start with, I don't have any sort of like lounge access wise. It just makes a lot more sense if I'm going to get a premium card to get the platinum, since I live in Seattle and I have this Centurion Lounge and I don't have like a Sapphire Lounge, for instance. Um, the 1.5 cents per point through the portal, which I know is super valuable for a lot of people, especially works really well for domestic travel, I would say. Whereas for me, like my goal is to travel internationally as much as I possibly can. And because of that, I'm going to end up most likely transfer most of my points to travel partners anyways.
Right.
So from like the 50% higher value through the portal perspective, I don't think I would actually personally get that much value out of it. I would use the $300 travel credit, but then I'm still looking at a $250 effective fee. And what else am I getting value out of? I mean, you could argue the great travel protections, which I talked about earlier too, but I don't know that I would pay that much money just for travel protections. So I guess there's not as much of a path unless you have a Sapphire Lounge at your home airport, in my opinion, to get to the annual fee for the Sapphire Reserve versus some other cards.
Yeah, I definitely agree. And right now, I mean, and you think about in the States, there's only two.
Yeah,
There's,
right.
there's, all right, now, what is the most surprising thing that you've ever done with credit card points?
Surprising thing. It's a tough one. Um, I haven't done anything like I know like Spencer Johnson made a video about like buying a Mac with points or anything like that. Like I haven't done something like that. But in terms of surprising thing, um, I would say I'm honestly maybe just like I don't know if this is surprising, but when I came back from my trip in January and I flew back from Colombia, I booked flights through the Chase portal, um, which some people would say like, why would I do that? I mean, I got 1.25 cents per point just with my Sapphire Preferred. Um, so I guess that was maybe surprising, just because I did a lot of research and I was trying to find a good redemption, but just like the specific dates I was looking at, what options were available, I wasn't able to do it. So I guess from a surprising perspective, I haven't done anything crazy outside of booking travel, but that was surprising just because typically almost every redemption I make, I'm only going to travel if I'm transferring to travel partners, unless it's domestic travel for the most part.
Yeah, I mean, you know what? Sometimes to get the best valuation, and you have to be flexible. And like somebody like me,
Yeah.
I'm more of a last minute traveler. You
Yeah.
know, I just am. So I have to get the best I can get at the time. You
Right.
know,
And like it worked really well on the front end because I was able to book business class flights and get a good redemption using Aeroplan, but then it just didn't connect on the back end. And like another thing that isn't talked about as much is like for my job, like I have a set amount of PTO and I like have to let them know with like multiple weeks in advance. So I don't have like the privilege of just like sitting to wait to find like the best possible redemption. I'm kind of like almost at the mercy of like when I can actually go. And then I just kind of have to like see what's available.
right.
Yeah.
Now, with the good comes the bad. What is the worst mistake that you ever made with credit cards, and what did you learn from it?
The worst mistake I ever made with credit cards, I would say, I mean, I wouldn't say this is like a horrible mistake, but getting the Elastic card first. I mean, I love the Elastic card and I'm glad that I have it, but I always preach on my channel like when you're first starting out your credit card journey, like the way that your credit score is built, you're working, it's built from a foundation. So like the length of your credit history is important. If you have a bunch of no annual fee credit cards that have no downside, those oldest credit accounts that are going to take your length of your credit history the highest, you can keep open because there's no downside to having them. So I would say getting an annual fee credit card and one that was like with a specific like airline was probably not something I would recommend to most people. That's more of something I would have done later on, especially since like you never know what happens in life. You never know if you're going to move. And let's say I move to the East Coast, then like my Alaska card doesn't become as valuable anymore. So that's why typically like starting with the flexible points currencies, I would say is important.
Hmm. Have you ever been denied for a credit card?
Have I ever what?
Been denied for a credit card?
I have. I got denied for the city premiere a while ago due to too many inquiries, which I can't blame them. I guess that makes sense. And I that was the main one. I think that was one of the main ones. Oh, I got denied for the Venture X the first time that I applied with my wife, and then I got approved when I applied for it myself. But yeah, so I was denied myself for the city premiere, which is now the Strata premiere, and then I got denied when I tried to apply for the Venture X through my wife.
Yes, I think Citi was the first issuer that ever denied me as well, but it was for
Yeah.
the AA card.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
Yeah, city
um,
stuff.
you really have to know city rules. Like I kind of know their rules now, how to
Yeah.
play the rules, but yeah, they are pretty tough.
Yeah.
Now, did you? Oh well, we already know you reapplied for the Venture X because you had it.
Right.
Did you reapply for the Strata Premier?
I have not yet. I feel like, especially, I mean, city cards are tough for people like us who, are constantly going through bonuses, like trying to play that game. Like, I feel like if I had a point where I was going to apply for the City Strata Premier again, I would probably wait until I had like a period where I was okay with gardening and trying to just like get my inquiries down. Maybe I would do so like, since I have a 2-player setup with my wife, maybe what I would do is have one of us like continue bonus hunting, getting new cards, and the other one maybe like let your credit history grow a little bit, get hard inquiries off your report, all that type of stuff, garden, and then apply for the city strata premier that way. So yeah, I think I would potentially do so in the future, but probably not right now.
All right, so now we go get to the fun questions. And shout out to Joe for the big super chat. Really appreciate you. You know, before we get to the fun questions, since we got a few people in here, I just wanted to say this again. I have a 5K subscriber celebration either Monday or Friday on my channel. I'm not really sure. I'll post it in my community section. But yeah, man, I appreciate everybody for helping me get to 5K, and we going beyond. But
yeah,
back to these
congrats
questions.
again.
I appreciate
Congrats
it,
again,
brother.
Sledge, yeah.
Man, it's been a struggle. Been a struggle.
There's ups and downs for sure.
If there was a movie about your life, who would play you, and why would you choose that person?
Wow, that's a good question. Movie about my life. I would say, I mean, I'll just go with, I would have Steve Carell play my life. And the reason I say that is because I don't like to take life too seriously. I like to, you know, like not, if I can, I mean, sometimes it's hard not to be anxious about certain things, but like I try to, you know, not take life too seriously, tell some jokes, have fun, do stuff. And like in general, like that's why I like traveling is connecting with people. And I feel like he does a good job of like connecting with people. Like he's a funny guy, like doesn't take life too seriously. I would go with him for sure.
So that's what's up. All right, they hate me say any interest in credit union credit cards.
Yeah, that's a good question. I like, in full transparency, I feel like I don't know enough to like really get into credit union cards yet. I know there's a lot of value that can be found. I know like Josh Butler, for instance, like and Sledge, like both of them are like great resources for that, and have videos on credit union cards. I personally don't have any videos on credit union cards and don't have any. So I I mean, I would be interested in the future for sure. I feel like I just need to get more educated on that topic. But I know there's a lot of potential benefits to be found just depending on your situation. I don't know, Sledge, you can probably touch on it more than me,
Yeah.
but
You know what, the thing with credit unions, more than, because I look at credit unions more than credit cards. I look at the credit unions for the relationship. As far
yeah.
as, you know, you never know, you can get a low interest business loan, a mortgage, car loan that you would get from some of the, you know, the big banks, the Chase banks, the, you know, Bank of America, and institutions like that. So
Mhm.
credit unions are more, you know, the more products you have with them, the better they are for you. You know, if you have a checking account, a savings account, a credit card with them, they're more likely to give you low interest loans. So that's why I try to deal with
Okay.
it.
Yeah.
And you know, earlier you said that you've been an entrepreneur. You know, you have an entrepreneur mindset, and I really think you should look into some of your local credit unions, or even some of the bigger credit unions, because they have
Yeah,
more
I should.
finances. You know, but yeah,
Uh-huh.
when you start talking about some of these car loans and things like that, yes, our credit score does help with that, but the credit unions might even give you a little bit better loan than some of these big manufacturers. All right, so if your channel had a mascot, what would it be?
My channel had a mascot. Man, these are real brain teasers. I'm gonna go with man, it's tough. I mean, I would like to say I would just go with like I don't know, like a dog or something, like a cool
That's
dog,
too
but
simple, man. Too simple.
yeah, too simple. I'm gonna go with an elephant. I love elephants. I think they're super cool animals. And, you know, they're very community based. And I feel like I'm someone who is pretty extroverted and likes to talk to people. So, yeah, I would go elephant.
That's what's up. The elephant in the room.
Yeah, elephant in the room.
All right, now I'm gonna name 5 content creators,
Okay.
and you describe them in one word.
Okay.
The first one is CJ from It's Me CJ channel.
Uh-huh. One word right now.
One word.
Okay. I would say I love CJ. I would say, man, it's hard to think of just one word. First, that's what I'll say.
All right. Chase Yokoyama.
I would say traveler.
For sure. Stan the Credit Frog.
Smart.
Absolutely. Luke's Points and Miles.
Wise.
Jacob from Jacob's Points and Profits.
I wish I would have kept traveler because I would go there too. But bonuses. He's also a bonus guy.
He is definitely a bonus guy. And the last question that we have is the hardest question that for every guest that ever came here.
All right.
And that is, what is your social media and where can the viewers see Matt Welter?
Yeah. So my channel is Matt Welter Official. Just under my name, Matt Welter, on YouTube. And then my social media, Instagram is my name, Matt Welter 5. And yeah, so you can follow with me either way. I've made some TikTok videos in the past too, if you want to check those out, but not as much of an emphasis. So I would definitely say YouTube, Matt Welter Official, or just under my name, Matt Welter, then Instagram, Matt Welter 5.
Oh, that's what's up. That's what's up. Well, Matt, man, it was great having you here, man. Do you have any final words for the chat?
Well, I really appreciate you, Sledge, for inviting me. I had a great time, and it was awesome connecting with everyone. And appreciate all of you guys for joining the live stream as well. Excited to talk with everyone more in the future, and appreciate all the questions.
All right, now, like I say, every single time we ever did one of these, whether you've been here for 5 minutes, 15 minutes, 30 minutes, or the whole time, we appreciate each and every person that came out